A billionaire searches for his missing daughter in the park. He finds her sitting with a homeless girl who teaches her to read using torn paper scraps. The poor girl's kindness and wisdom shock him. This moment will change both their lives forever. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected teachers. Before watching full story, comment below from where are you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Richard Sterling was one of the richest men in the world. He had more money than he could count. His house was like a palace. He owned 7 expensive cars. He could buy anything he wanted. But deep inside he felt empty and sad. Richard had an 8-year-old daughter named Emma. Emma was his whole world, but she was always quiet and sad too. She went to the most expensive school in the city. She had the best toys, the prettiest clothes, and everything money could buy. But she was not happy. One Tuesday evening, Richard was walking in Central Park. He was looking for Emma. She had run away from her nanny again. Emma did this often. She would disappear during their walks, and it made everyone worry. "Emma?" Richard called out loudly. "Where are you? Come back." The park was getting dark. Richard was getting worried. Then he heard voices coming from behind a big tree. One voice was Emma's sweet laugh. The other voice was different. It was soft, kind, and patient. Richard walked quietly toward the voices. He wanted to see what was happening. When he looked around the tree, he could not believe his eyes. Emma was sitting on the dirty ground. Next to her sat another girl who looked about 12 years old. This girl was very different from Emma. Her clothes were old, torn, and very dirty. Her shoes had big holes in them. Her hair was messy and had not been washed for many days. She looked very thin and hungry. But there was something special about this girl. Her eyes were bright and smart. She was smiling as she talked to Emma. Between the two girls were pieces of old cardboard and torn paper. The homeless girl was pointing to letters that were written with an old pencil. "Look at this word, Emma," the girl said in a gentle voice. "This is CAT. It spells cat. Can you say it?" "Cat," Emma said happily, clapping her small hands. "Very good. You are so smart. Now tell me, what sound does the letter C make?" "CH," Emma replied. She was so proud of herself. Richard watched this scene in complete shock. His daughter went to a school that cost thousands of dollars every month. But here she was, getting a reading lesson from a homeless child. They were using garbage as books, but Emma was learning and having fun. "You are the best teacher in the world, Maya," Emma said with a big smile. "Will you teach me more words tomorrow?" "Of course I will," Maya replied. Her smile was warm and beautiful. Learning is the most wonderful thing in the world. Once you learn something, no one can ever take it away from you. It belongs to you forever. Richard felt something strange happening in his heart. When was the last time he had seen Emma this happy? At home, Emma was always alone. She played with her expensive toys by herself. She never smiled like this. But here, sitting on the dirty ground with a homeless girl, Emma was glowing with pure joy. "Maya," Emma asked in her innocent voice, "why don't you go to school like me?" Maya's bright smile became a little sad. "I used to go to school every day. I loved school so much. But my mommy got very sick. She could not work anymore to earn money. We lost our house because we could not pay for it. Now I have to take care of my mommy all the time. There is no time for school anymore. But you know so much," Emma said with surprise. "You are smarter than my teacher at school." Maya's smile came back. "My mommy taught me something very important. She said being smart is not about having lots of books or sitting in a fancy classroom. Being smart means you want to learn new things every day. It means you want to help other people learn too. That is why I love teaching you, Emma. When I teach you new words, it makes me remember all the beautiful things I learned before." Richard felt his eyes getting wet. This girl had nothing at all. No home, no food, no school, no future. But she was sharing the only thing she had left, her knowledge, with his daughter. She was giving away her most precious treasure. "I wish I could help your mommy get better," Emma said sadly. Maya reached out and touched Emma's hand very gently. "But you do help me, Emma. When you smile at me and learn new words, you make me very happy. And when I am happy, I can take better care of my mommy. That is how kindness works. It goes from one person to another person, like sunshine spreading everywhere." Richard had heard enough. He felt angry and confused. He did not understand why, but seeing this scene made him uncomfortable. He stepped out from behind the tree. "Emma," he said in a stern, firm voice. "It is time to go home right now." Both girls looked up quickly. They were scared and surprised. Emma's happy face became sad when she saw her father's serious expression. "But Daddy," Emma said, "Maya was teaching me how to read better. She knows so many words and she is so nice to me." "Now Emma, We are leaving right now. Maya quickly picked up all the paper scraps from the ground. Her hands were shaking. I am so sorry, sir, she said in a quiet, frightened voice. I did not mean to do anything wrong. Emma is such a sweet little girl. She wanted to learn new words and I just wanted to help her. Richard looked down at this thin, dirty child. She had been so patient and kind with his daughter. Her clothes were falling apart, and she looked like she had not eaten a real meal in days. But she held her head up with dignity and respect. What is your name? Richard asked. His voice was a little softer now. My name is Maya Rodriguez, sir. How old are you, Maya? I am 12 years old, sir. 12 years old. Richard was shocked. This girl was only 12, but she spoke like a wise adult. She had more patience and kindness than most grown-ups Richard knew. Where do you live, Maya? Richard asked. Maya looked down at her dirty hands. She was embarrassed. We do not have a home, sir. Sometimes the homeless shelter has room for me and my mommy. Sometimes we sleep in the park or under bridges. We move to different places every few days. Richard felt like someone had hit him in the chest. This child was homeless. She was hungry and cold. She was taking care of a sick mother all by herself. But instead of being angry at the world, instead of stealing or being mean, she spent her time teaching his daughter how to read. Emma, Richard said, say goodbye to Maya. We have to go home now. Emma ran to Maya and hugged her tightly. Will I see you tomorrow, Maya? Can you teach me more words? I will be here, Maya promised with a smile. We can practice reading together. Maybe I can teach you how to write your name in pretty letters. As Richard and Emma walked away from the park, Richard was very quiet. Emma talked and talked about all the wonderful things Maya had taught her. But Richard barely heard his daughter's words. His mind was full of thoughts about Maya. That night Richard could not sleep at all. He lay in his huge, expensive bed, staring at the ceiling. He kept thinking about Maya's words. Learning is the most wonderful thing in the world. Once you learn something, no one can ever take it away from you. Richard had given Emma everything that money could buy. Expensive toys, beautiful clothes, fancy gadgets, trips to amazing places around the world. But had he given her what Maya was giving her? Had he taught her the joy of learning? Had he shown her patience and kindness? Richard realized that Maya, who had absolutely nothing, was giving his daughter something more valuable than anything in his mansion. She was giving Emma love, attention, and the gift of knowledge. The next morning Richard made a decision that surprised even himself. Cancel all my meetings today, he told his assistant. I have something very important to do. Richard drove to the park very early before Emma usually came there. He found Maya sitting under the same big oak tree. She was reading from an old book that was damaged by water. The pages were yellow and torn, but Maya was reading carefully. Maya, Richard called out softly. Maya looked up quickly. Fear flashed in her eyes. She thought she was in trouble. Sir, I was not doing anything wrong. I was just reading while I waited for Emma. I did not bother anyone. I know, Richard said. Then he did something he had not done in 20 years. He sat down on the ground next to Maya. His expensive suit would get dirty, but he did not care anymore. Maya, can I ask you something? He said. Yes, sir. Why do you help Emma? You do not know us. You have never met us before. You have your own problems to worry about. Why do you spend your time teaching my daughter? Maya was quiet for a moment. She thought carefully about her answer. My mommy always taught me something important. She said when you have something good, even if it is something very small, you should share it with other people. I do not have money or a house or fancy clothes. But I have knowledge. I have learned many things. When I share my knowledge with Emma, it makes both of us richer. It makes both of us happy. Richard stared at this amazing child. Here was a girl who had lost everything, but she still believed in sharing and helping others. Maya, tell me about your mother, Richard said gently. Maya's eyes became bright and happy. My mommy used to be a teacher. She was the best teacher in the whole world. She taught me that every person has something valuable and special inside them. She taught me to be kind, to work hard, and to never give up. She got very sick 2 years ago. The doctors said she needs expensive medicine every month, but we do not have money to buy it. That is why we lost our apartment and became homeless. What kind of medicine does your mother need? Richard asked. Maya told him the name of a medicine. Richard knew this medicine cost about $400 every month. For Maya and her mother, this was impossible to afford. But for Richard, $400 was like 4 cents. Maya, Richard said slowly, what would you say if I told you I could help your mother get better? What if I could make sure you both had a safe, warm place to live? Maya's eyes filled with tears. Sir, we cannot take money from you. My mommy taught me that we should work for what we get. We do not take charity from people. What if it was not charity? Richard asked. What if it was a job? A job. Maya looked confused. Richard's mind was working fast. Emma loves learning from you. You are a natural teacher just like your mother was. What if you became Emma's tutor? What if we paid you to teach her every day? We could help pay for your mother's medicine. We could find you both a nice place to live. Maya stared at Richard. She could not believe what she was hearing. You would really do that for us? Maya, yesterday I watched my daughter happier than I have seen her in many months. You did that. You gave her something I could never buy with all my money. You gave her the joy of learning. You gave her friendship and kindness. You showed her that knowledge is beautiful. That is worth more than you can imagine. Tears were streaming down Maya's face. I do not know what to say. Just say yes, Richard said gently. Let me help you and your mother. Let me give you both a chance at a better life. And in return keep teaching Emma. Not just reading and writing but all the important things you taught her yesterday. Teach her about kindness, patience, and the love of learning. Maya nodded her head. She was crying too hard to speak but she was smiling at the same time. 6 months later, Richard stood at the window of his home office. He was looking down at his garden. Maya and Emma were sitting under an apple tree. Books and papers were spread all around them. Maya's mother was there too. She was healthy now, thanks to the medicine Richard provided. She was teaching Emma how to paint with watercolors. Maya looked completely different now. She was clean and healthy. Her hair was shiny and neat. She wore nice new clothes. But most importantly, she still had that bright, intelligent sparkle in her eyes. She still had the same kind heart that had first captured Richard's attention. Richard's assistant knocked on his office door. Mr. Sterling, the newspaper reporter, is here. He wants to interview you about your new program to help homeless families. Richard smiled. The program had started small. He began by helping just a few homeless families get back on their feet through education and job training. But now the program was growing bigger every day. Hundreds of families were getting help. Tell the reporter I will be right there, Richard said. As Richard walked toward his door, he could hear Emma's laughter from the garden. She was reading aloud from a book. Her voice was strong and confident. Maya clapped and cheered when Emma finished reading the whole page perfectly. Richard stopped for a moment to listen. 6 months ago he thought he was the one helping Maya. Now he understood the real truth. Maya had saved him. She had taught him the most important lesson of his life. She had shown him that real wealth was not in his bank account. Real wealth was in moments like these. It was in the sound of his daughter's happy laughter. It was in knowing that he was using his money to make the world a better place for everyone. The homeless girl with torn clothes and paper scraps had taught a billionaire the most valuable lesson of all. She taught him that the greatest riches in life come not from what we have, but from what we give to others. As Richard walked toward his interview, ready to tell the world about his program that was changing lives, he carried with him the wisdom of a 12-year-old girl. Maya had reminded him that learning, kindness, and love are the most precious gifts in the world. These are treasures that make everyone truly wealthy. Maya had been right all along. These were riches that no one could ever take away.